Welcome, everybody, to our weekly open mic. Hey, I'm Aaron. For those of you that are new, we do this call because you folks asked for it. You wanted to hear what was new with the platform, what bugs we fixed, and you wanted to do a little R&D or rob and duplicate some of the automation ideas from your MSP peers. A number of reminders. First off, this is a highly technical call. So if you are, say, an MSP founder or C-level person, this is the call that your folks who are using the product would join. Feel free to listen in because it's a cool place to learn about what people are working on and what kind of value that they're getting from automation. And speaking of automation, who am I going to call on today? I'm looking for Russell. Did I call him last time? He's got his camera on. I'm looking for people with their camera on. I think I called on. This is when everyone turns off their camera. Stuart, your camera's on. How many MSPs have been successful with automation that have never asked a question?
Big goose egg. Zero.
In fact, one of the biggest things I look for on whether or not an MSP will succeed with automation is whether or not they think they're an expert at it. If in general, that matches with life, right? If you walk into somebody who thinks they're an expert at things, they don't tend to learn anything new. So some of our best MSPs that automate are the ones that came in with a clear mind, had potentially no idea what they were doing, started to work on their first automations, then asked a ton of questions, and then succeeded like crazy. So with that, ask tons of questions. You can do it publicly in our Discord channel, The Coop, or privately in your one-on-one channel with our Rock or support team. And with that, let's get this party started. Ashe, what's up?
Hey, so I'm not going to be spending a lot of time on my own ramblings here. As you can hear, I am probably not the best to listen to, so we're just going to jump right over and have George jump us off.
I'm really enjoying this this new AI voice filter that you have, Ashley. I think we should hear from more of you this afternoon. A few updates from me on the community side. First, thanks to everyone who was down in Nashville this week at the GTIA ChannelCon. It was great speaking to so many of our partners there live and in person. Always enjoying the feedback and just meeting plenty of you guys face to face. So thanks for everyone who came up and said hi. If you are heading to Build It or Build IT next week in New Jersey, our Rewst team will be there. So make sure to stop by and say hi if you plan on going to that event next week. And then our webinar this month, now that we're straight into August, is actually going to be focusing on Halo. So if you're looking at Halo or a Halo user, we have a dedicated webinar coming up in a couple of weeks all around how you can turn 4-hour headaches into 4-minute automation. So we'll be looking in specifically around billing reconciliation, onboarding, offboarding, all those great things that you like doing in your PSA. And yeah, kind of doing something focusing on the Halo webinar. The last announcement I have is something a little bit more quirky and fun, so definitely a good call to bring this up on. At Rewst, we have an employee engagement committee, and so we like to do things internally to make sure people are getting connected and having a bit of banter month to month. So we did some stuff for Star Wars Day earlier this year. Last month was International Mac and Cheese Day, so we had some mac and cheese submissions. But this month, we actually wanted to include the broader community because this month on August 8th, which is next Friday, is International Cat Day. So we are running a competition internally with Rewst staff that we want to make available to our broader community as well. And it's nice and easy. All you need to do is submit a photo of your cat, if you have one, or plural cats, and we'll have a prize for the one that has the most votes. Voting is going to be simple. I'm going to be dropping these pictures into the coop, and if you like what you see, drop a cat emoji on those photos. And then next week we can declare who the winner will be on open mic, as well as share the winner of our internal Rewst cat photos. So I know a lot of people are cat people here, judging by the amount of meows that happen at the end of the call. So yeah, if you have a cat, your neighbor has a cat, just make sure you have permission before taking photos of other people's cats. But yeah, International Cat Day next Friday. Would love to see the photos. Looking forward to it.
Respect cat privacy. All right, Clea.
Hard to follow up cat enthusiasm, but I do have a screen to share and some links. First, go give our LinkedIn post some love. We are dropping a new ROI with Rewst series, 7 videos teaching you how to build a simple workflow with best practices in mind. That is the first link there. And as always, training updates. Shoutouts go out to Craig, Reed, Lawrence, Daniel, Stephen, Micah, Ender, Chase, Anthony, Akil, and Kevin for passing the foundation certification. Shoutouts to Reed, Florian, Ender, Kevin, Daniel, Stephen, Ben, Scott, Tim with a lowercase t because he's special and we are humans writing the real documentation, and Chris for passing clean automation, and our very own Linda, who just joined Rewst. Y'all are crushing it. Get your name featured in a future shout out by taking our certifications. Some other things to shout out. We have made enhancements to our onboarding courses. There will be additional videos added to the Intro to Crates course next week-ish about the user offboarding crate, a video on modifying crates by our fantastic Tanner Campbell. So stay tuned for more videos. Onboarding courses are always being updated. Special shout out go to our friend Andy, who gave us a lot of detailed feedback on the Jinja and Action course. We are working through edits to the course content and videos, and appreciate the time that you took to give us that feedback, and anyone else who was filling out feedback surveys in our courses. We just downloaded all, 500 of them, and we're combing through updates to make enhancements. Our documentation manager, Lisa, took a well-deserved vacation this week, and she'll be back next week with documentation updates galore. So let us know if you have any questions, and keep learning Rewst.
Thank you, Clea. All right, JP.
Hello. For this week, we don't have any new crate releases, but we did release a few bug fixes. We've got a few crates still in the pipeline, including a new one that's being worked on, which is workstation offboarding. I also, yesterday afternoon, I wrote a workflow, and now it's going to become a crate. Just wanted to share it real briefly, but it's basically an admin password rotation workflow that rotates specified usernames either in your 365 environment or on-prem, and it documents it in the documentation platform of your choice. So I'll probably create a crate around that once somebody's taken a gander at it, make sure it's not terrible, and we'll put it up in the marketplace for your consumption. So that's marketplace update for this week.
All right, thank you. Daniel.
Hello, my friends. Quick update today before we go into another fun demo. So this week we had a few integration fixes that we implemented, one for SyncMonkey, Halo, and another one for OpenAI. And then we had a few housekeeping items that we took care of as well. So we've been really beefing up our internal automated testing, as well as like error handling and visibility, observability, into all that type of stuff. So we can really push for, as we grow and get a lot more people developing a lot more automations, we can scale. We also have a fun new feature that's going to be coming up soon. We did some housekeeping work for that as well, or a chore for that, and that is hourly dashboard updates. So on our dashboard right now, we're updating it at different intervals between the different widgets, and we want to make sure that that's all synced up, so you're not seeing any sort of discrepancies between your different widgets. So we have that coming up. We also have 3 integrations that are about to be released, including Dropsuite, VoIP, and Leader. So we'll have further updates in coming weeks. But with that, I'll pass it back to either George or directly to Pizza. I don't really know, but Pizza's got some fun stuff to show.
After you, Pizza.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. It's been a couple weeks since we last spoke, so hope all of you have been well. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. That. Alrighty. So today we're here to discuss one of the biggest problems that you guys face when building a new workflow, and it reveals itself in an odd way where you may have not even considered you know, what we're about to show, at least as it exists. But the main problem that we run into is understanding what's in context at any given time within a workflow. Whether it's we published something, whether it's coming from a trigger, regardless. The biggest issue that exists is we don't know what we have, so we can't go forward. That is a problem that, as we have been developing the AI functionality, has been something we've needed to address. But as a result, we're now able to address it for you as well. So let me show you what that looks like. We'll start with a blank workflow here. I'll go ahead and add in a debug task. And if we come in here to our nice little editor, you'll notice a new little sidebar. This shows us a number of different types of variables available to us in the workflow, whether it's other tasks, published variables, things that come from the workflow, whether inputs or triggers, and then organization variables. We not only wanted to kind of build out simple things like the workflow inputs, and a lot of this is available through things like our, you know, autocomplete, things like that. But where this takes it to the next level is it's real time. And let me show you what I mean by that. So we'll come in here, we'll go to Google Workspace admin action, we'll create a new domain. And what we'll do is we can come into our on success transition, open up the condition, and you can see right off the bat, we're shown the output schema of the action as it exists right now. That goes for arrays underneath the main object, things like that. And when we click on that, we're able to then see result.result is put in directly into the editor. So say, for example, we wanted to grab that value, we can grab that. If we wanted to grab the array value, we can go ahead and grab that. On any number of different things within our context. That goes beyond just that too. If we go ahead and connect our two actions together here, we'll go back into our template, and where there wasn't anything before, there's now that Google Workspace create domain action. You can see that when we expand it, we're given the exact same output schema that we were shown before, and we can go ahead and add in that actual Jinja within the output, within the actual Monaco editor. And it's using the correct syntax for the external use of the result variables. So let's get a little bit more funky with it. Let's go ahead and add a data alias. So we'll just name this foo, and we'll just give it a random value. It doesn't really need a value. But we'll come back into our template, and you can see in our published, we now have one variable, foo. And we'll go ahead and add that into our Monaco editor. Go ahead and get rid of that for now. And then we'll go ahead and just add another task. We'll go ahead and publish something within here. We'll call it bar. We'll come in here just so nothing's up my sleeve. You can see that no tasks are published, nothing's published, nothing is available here except the workflow input. And if I come back over to our actual editor, you can see here that our actual input configuration does show that. So now when we go ahead and connect these, go back into our template, you can see not only do we have our Google Workspace result stuff, we also have foo from that previous action. Now this goes in a number of different ways. So say, for example, we come over here to a little bit more of a complex example. You can see that we have a number of different variables defined here. And if we come into like our custom conditions, you can see that all of them are available. You can see that all of these that come from things like our workflow settings are also defined within there. And so on and so forth. But it even works for more complex examples. So let's say we add another task down here. We'll go ahead and publish, did I publish bar already? Yeah, I did. Okay. So we'll just do ABC. We'll go ahead and do that there. You can see that all of the, let me go ahead and get rid of this transition. You can see that all of the previous variables are now available at our given task. But say we did something where we were kind of looping a set of tasks based on a set of conditions. Say we were kind of increasing a number every so often. If I went ahead and connected this back here, if I come back into this editor, you can now see that not only do we have the task, we now have all of our previous variables that were defined, since we will technically be going to this task. Now, obviously, this workflow is just for demo purposes, and this isn't really valid per se. But the idea that you're able to do things like loops and determine, what variables are going to be available is very, very important. And just to show, this goes just beyond what's available currently within a workflow. Say we have a trigger that is just for updated user. Come back into here. We should see our new triggering user data, which is just the output of that trigger. And it gives kind of the subfields, everything like that, that we can then access. That being said, this is a kind of sub feature that we were working on, since things like our agentic design platforms and things like that are going to need this kind of data. But the benefit is that we're also able to provide it to you all in this kind of format as well. It is relatively able to handle larger workflows, things like that. We'll be able to improve it as as we get more feedback in that regard. But that's kind of the demo that I had available. Happy to answer any questions on kind of what we just showed, everything like that. Yeah, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.
I got a question.
No questions, thank you.
When prod?
I knew that was going to be your question. please please ask my project manager. He's the one in charge of all that. So we have Daniel with an A around for.
No comment. No blockers. No drama.
Ship it.
September. It's coming
Mhm.
out with
Any,
their September release.
Any questions from the peanut gallery?
Timothy asked, when do we get burgers for key values? And can we have them be pizzas instead of burgers?
I would say. And no questions about the new canvas. So there will be no discussion about the Nintendo Switch 2 during this presentation.
You won't click that button.
That's so easy.
No.
It's so easy to do.
No. What other questions?
I don't. Doesn't look like there's any other questions.
So
I had one question.
Go for it.
Is there trigger information available in that?
Yes. Yeah. So if we come
I've
back in
always
here.
struggled to find my trigger IDs and stuff, so that is
Oh, okay. You meant more trigger.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The
I mean,
context of
theoretically,
triggers.
that can be added. If we added more kind of tabs into this, or even just kind of put it as part of the workflow tab, I could definitely see that for sure.
Cool, thanks.
Anyone else? Yes, there are plans to pipe that into the Monaco autocomplete. It's one of those things that because we've improved this, we will be able to improve the autocomplete as well.
Are there any plans to make improvements to the app portal customization at all anytime soon?
What do you mean by that?
I know what he means.
Yeah, we spoke, Pizza. We spoke at the Rewst conference. That's how we talked about it. Yeah, just trying to see if there's any improvements to the customization available, whether it's just straight code base or not, versus the drag and drop.
A couple things with App Builder, and it all ties into what Pizza just demoed. Pizza ran into the need for this while building the AI component. The generative AI component needed access to this data, and we now just publish it to the UI. That's what you're seeing, what Pizza demoed. Once we get the generative component working well for workflows, we're going to pivot then to App Builder. So when we don't have unlimited resources to build product, and so when we're kind of balancing priorities, we're thinking, can we make, should we use our resource time to add more buttons to App Builder to do things? Or can we use our resources to just skip adding more buttons and add generative capabilities with AI? And that's the direction that we're taking with App Builder. But we're learning first by building workflows, and then we're going to pivot to Builder. Because wouldn't it be cool to say, hey, App Builder, build me a portal that does these things? And it looks cool, and it has all the workflows built for you, and it does that thing.
So some of us still like to code.
I know. You'll likely have access to whatever's generated, and you can modify it. I see a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got 4 of them this small right now.
I was going to say, Dave, if I held my cat like that, I'd have I do have a slice right across my lip from holding my cat like that. All right. We're going to jump into some demos now. And we're going to start with Aaron without the H.
Hello.
Hello.
Mine actually circles around a very similar topic than I think it was George showed off, around password rotations. But mine actually handles the local administrator password changes across all computers in the organization. As of right now, I just have it laid out in one general workflow, and there's not handing off to sub workflows or anything like that for the most part, which I do have to change for just kind of some ease of use and organization, but that's for another day. But as of right now, essentially pulls in all the devices and then filters them by Mac and Windows. Those are our main base clients. We don't have a whole lot that function within Linux. From there, goes ahead, lists out the passwords, which it pulls all the passwords and then attempts to do a kind of filter match for any passwords that match, what our default local admin password set name is. And then once it goes ahead and does all that for us, decides, there's no Windows machines, there's not a password set. It'll rotate every 90 days. So it decides, hey, is it younger than 90 days? Is it older than 90 days? And then just kind of falls back onto an always. This side handles the actual password generation between the two. And I wanted them different passwords between the Mac and the Windows local admin. So they both kind of create a 25 length password to reset it to. The other side of this actually goes ahead and decides whether it's keeping the password or if there's just no passwords inside of IT Glue for that because they don't have Windows machines or Mac machines or whatever it is with that company. And this goes ahead and then just pulls in that password value so we can reuse that for the next set of machines. And that way it can also go ahead and scan and make sure that all the machines have the up-to-date password. It does rescanning. You can essentially just keep it on a cron job. I have mine set for every 6 hours that it goes ahead and scans and makes sure all the passwords are set. Right here is just kind of some rough logic, which I most definitely could break down into one block or maybe two, but this is a lot more readable for me. So that's why I chose to do it that way. And then it goes ahead and gets into our actions from there. The IT Glue actions, whether it's going ahead, updating that password inside of IT Glue, whether it's creating a password because one doesn't exist yet. And then the other pathway of that is the Ninja actions, which it actually handles both Windows and Mac machines. So Rewst has the inbuilt Windows script for Ninja and Rewst to go ahead and communicate PowerShell. They did not have the same Mac script by default. So I went ahead and I actually made my own for that one. And that took a little bit of trial and error, but was definitely worth it. No, of course, I put it in a template like that. So so this goes ahead. This is the Rewst side of things for that script. Goes ahead and logs everything that it needs to, and then uses curl to reach back out for that webhook. Or I believe it's a webhook. Yeah, it is. And that definitely took some finagling to kind of get it to handle correctly, but it'll also make sure that there's no, That there's not a secure token with it because we can't reset it if there's not a secure token, or if there is a secure token. Sorry, my bad. And then it goes ahead and just finishes up the actions from there. But that scheduled cron job essentially just rotates the passwords every 90 days because it's able to detect from the IT glue instance how old that password is. And that's pretty much all I got.
Thank you, Aaron. Do we have any questions? All right.
Cody, for our organizations, for the local admin user, yes, it is. But that doesn't mean the same across global admins and things like that. If you're talking about per company, this workflow runs in each company's instance. And because of that, it'll regenerate a new password for each company's instance.
Okay, thank you. So now we are going to jump over to Logan, who has something that he's got to show us as well.
How's it going, everyone? This one is a little bit weird. It's not necessarily Rewst focused, but it's definitely something that you can use within Rewst. So any of you that have directly managed phone systems, like not through a vendor, but yourself, might be familiar with Asterisk. I'm not super familiar with it. I just know we need to interface with it. But what I do know is that it's basically like a framework for telephony, and most PBXs that are modern run off of it. Microsoft Teams and Azure Communication Service are an exception. They use something crazy proprietary and more powerful, but at the end of the day, Asterisk is what's running a lot of phone systems out there, including the ones that we manage for our customers. So if your phone system, for some reason, does not have a great API, no event-based webhooks or anything like that that you can use to automate off of, Asterisk actually provides a lot of that itself through the ARI, or the Asterisk REST interface. So if we go in and enable it, I'm going to try and find, oh, I just lost it. There's a config file I can link the documentation to in a little bit here, but basically you flip it on in the Asterisk settings and it gives you URLs like this that you can retrieve OpenAPI specs with. A major challenge I ran into is that they're all defined in a weird hybrid of Swagger 1.1 and 1.2. So very, very old definitions. I can't find what I used to convert from Swagger 1 to Swagger 2. I did try looking for a little bit before the call here, but this one here is what I used to get from 2 to 3, and it's super reliable. You can just post in an older Swagger spec in the try it out section, and it'll just spit it out the other side, nice and converted to 3.1 or 3.01 for you. So I went through and collected all of the Swagger specifications for the Asterisk REST interface. I updated them from Swagger 1 to Swagger 2, and then from 2 to 3, and realized that wasn't quite enough. So I also went ahead and combined all of the different specifications into a single one so that you can use it nice and easily in basically any automation tool. I took it another level, and if you're not familiar with this, it's a way to basically provide an API gateway. So to keep it simple on this side of things, basically throw in your API spec in here, and it allows you to apply policies, display it in a portal, and a few other things as well. So just to show that off, it basically creates this automatically for you. What I instead can also do with it is turn it into an MCP server once I get my APIM instance converted. This basically lets you take any REST API and just shove it into an MCP server. Just a side feature that I wanted to mention here. But the real objective was to get it imported into Rewst as a custom integration. So after all the converting I did, I used Schema Doctor as well. I forget who made that, but you are an absolute champion. And corrected quite a few errors as well. I went through and tagged all of the endpoints, made sure pagination is good, and yeah, all of these are functional. I'm not super familiar with what you can do with this, but imagine a channel is somewhat like one end of a phone call, and then you can bridge those channels together to actually make a call. There are a bunch of other functionalities in here as well, like media playback, call recording. You can mess around with people's voicemail boxes. It's a very, very powerful API. Yeah, that's about it. I haven't actually used it yet, but I'm sure that will make for a great next presentation.
That's
Any
awesome.
questions about whipping together your own API?
Doesn't sound like anybody's chiming in here.
Yeah, I figured it'd be a little bit of a crazy one, but hey, it's content.
Let people like keep an eye on that in case, yeah, maybe later another time.
Yeah, I plan on posting in the Discord forums to get a little bit more information about this. I want to get the Swagger 1 to 2 tool I used and a couple other things posted, but I'll get some information together and let y'all know.
Awesome. All right. I don't think, let me just double check in the call. No. All right. So I think that we have time now. Let's jump over to Chris Williams, not his son.
Yeah, sure. Let me pull this up 1 second. We were looking at, we wanted to be able to get away from the after hours call services. And we came across a vendor doing AI calls and accepting those. And so we were looking at that, and then we had to solve how do we handle those calls from them, and how do we handle that and make sure our techs get that information. So I'm actually using Rewst to do that. I'm about to share my screen. So we're about to go live with that soon, but we've been testing it with Ninja. So the process I'm going through here is, first off, just checking and making sure it's the right time that we want the alerts. And I guess the big part of this is none of this is really technical. Very little Jinja. If it is, it's a one-liner. I am not the primary person doing the the Rewst around here, but as a manager, this is a great project for me to take on. So once we get that time of day, I was able to go in here and create the alerts. And I had a bunch of techs who yelled at me. They're like, text messaging is not enough. So I was able to use this to say, hey, I can send text messages, then send a phone call, and update an email so then the owners are happy. They can see what's going on too. These actually create webhooks that they can go and just verify, hey, I acknowledge this. So for that text message, just pull one up here. It's very simple. It just gives you a ticket number of the company, what they reported, a link back to the ticket so they can just click on that if they need to, and the approval link to shut the alerts up. Otherwise, it's going to keep bothering them. We also have the email alert. This is more for our owners. Very simple, same sort of information for them. So that's been working great. And then we have Twilio phone calls. I'm not going to click into that one just because I was bad and I don't have the account IDs directly in here. But just a basic phone call that says, hey, you got an alert? Check your text messages. So when they click that link, it shuts off all of this and goes to received. I designed this so that I could easily edit each section. I probably could have used a sub workflow, but each one's slightly different. We escalate every 15 minutes, and we're kind of repeating the same thing. It looks like a lot, but it's really not. So every 15 minutes we go through, we kind of repeat the same thing, but we may change the person out. So, we get that extra, that 30-minute mark. We say, hey, let's move over and get an advanced support person in here, see what's going on if they haven't responded. They're still not paying attention. After an hour, it comes down here and it literally will just yell at me, so I can yell at them later. Why are they not answering? But aside from the communication part, alert gets received, updates the ticket, emails back to the owner, say, hey, somebody accepted this. I did also try to be very careful and add a failover for every SMS and for every email. I haven't had a failure yet, so it works out. Rewst has been doing a great job with that so far. And this has been live with, we're using it with Ninja right now, just based on sources. And then our AI agent we've been testing comes in and does the same thing, creates a ticket with a source. So that's how everything kind of ties together. Hopefully I explained that well, if anybody has any questions.
Who are you using for the AI service?
Yeah, we're starting up with MSP process.
Does it also handle after-hours tickets that are emergencies? Kelvin asked.
So these would be any emergencies. Since this is just going based on a source in ConnectWise, anything that gets set to that works. So for us, we're using Ninja to just automatically create that ticket with that source. And then the people that actually call in, they're usually not emergencies.
Awesome. I listened to Kim Scott do a keynote at ChannelCon about the radical candor stuff, and one of the things that she reiterated was the whole be comfortable with silence. Nobody will rarely let you sit for more than 7 seconds. And so if everybody's been wondering what those gaps are and trying to play with the 7 seconds. All right, so now actually I'm just checking to make sure that people are in the call here. I don't see Rod. So Nick, are you on?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, do you want to jump in?
Perfect, yes. All right, it's been a while since I've demoed, so hi everyone. Let me share my screen real quick. So this workflow kind of spun up a few weeks ago where we have a few clients that will put in tickets and stuff for scheduling their email forwarding for like a Friday or something. And then they want it taken down like the following Monday or like Tuesday, or they go on vacation or something. And it ended up being where like our techs would just take the ticket, set up the forwarding, and then the ticket would just sit in their queue for like a week. And I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. So I made a workflow here that basically allows you to schedule the time frame for someone's email forwarding. So let me see if I can move this so I can get to my tabs. Basically, I have two different workflow triggers here. So I have a client-facing one where the client eventually, we haven't quite rolled this out yet, but eventually the client can go in and do this themselves. So they can select the email there from a dropdown, and then whenever they want it to start and whenever they want it to finish. And then I also have one for internal. So if they put in a ticket, we can go and select their email from their org. I right now just have it in ours, and then who they want to forward to, and then of course the time frame stuff there. And it basically just works using delay workflows, which that's still kind of a work in progress because I think the max you can delay is like a week or so. And so I'm kind of looking for a better way to do that, but it delays the workflow. I have essentially my homemade workflow scheduler so that I don't bombard the Rewst servers with 10 workflows, 10 threads each at once, which I think I demoed that a few months ago. And then I get whatever sending email they have. So I grab our admin email from their tenant so that I can send them a confirmation email. And then because the date times that get sent from the form are all in UTC, I also made a workflow that basically just converts those to our local time so that I can pass it through the Exchange Online task here. And then that does all the magic on the back end for setting up the forwarding in 365. And then I send them an email, which is basically just an email that it gets sent to both the person that's getting forwarded to and the person who requested the forwarding, and says basically, hey, your email is being forwarded. It's going to end on this day at this time. And then I release the threads so other workflows can start running. And then it just waits until that date. And then it goes back through, undoes it all, sends a confirmation email saying, hey, the forwarding's over and your email is now unforwarded. And then it ends. So kind of a simple workflow. Definitely could probably be improved a little bit, especially with the delay workflow tasks, just because of the constrictions of the timeframes and stuff. But yeah, kind of just a little tool I've been working on in the background, just to alleviate some of the stress on our techs for having all these tickets in their buckets and stuff like that. So anyone have any questions?
Are those the same sub workflow there?
Let me look here. For which one?
Oh, just the two that I saw on the screen. I wasn't sure if the name was this just changed or if they were the same.
So these ones are the same. Like I said, this one's I called it the queue because it's a queue, and I love puns. But yeah, these are the same ones. So basically, what they do is each organization has a thread limit. So if I have a workflow that's going to be 5 threads, I put it in there, and then it blocks out 5 threads. And once it reaches the limit, it doesn't allow anything else to run until those threads are released when the other workflows finish. So just kind of something to make sure that I don't have to schedule each workflow individually to make sure they don't pass a certain threshold of computation power. So
Awesome.
cool.
Thank you. Any questions for Nick? That was our last workflow demo. So now we are into Q&A for anyone who's got something burning, workflow related.
Yeah, anyone stuck on anything?
Yeah.
Got an error? Josh.
Hello. I don't really have a question so much as I just wanted to say we just started onboarding last week, and I'm just really blown away with the documentation support, this weekly meeting. I just wanted to say thank you. This is kind of above and beyond, and I'm really happy that we finally decided to move forward with Rewst. So I just want to say thank you for setting all this up. This has been incredible.
Josh, thank you for joining us, and I'm super excited that you actually just came on and said that. That is not a stress-free endeavor. And ask questions and start with something easy. I know you and your management probably have big dreams and hopes.
Sure do.
Start with easy first.
Kelvin, I kind of got introduced to Rewst at the PAX 8 Beyond conference. I was talking with one of their engineers about funny enough about the limitations of scripting, and I was like, what can't you do with scripts? Like, kind of challenging him on it. And when we just got in a conversation, he just talked about this tool, and then I signed up for one of the demos there, and was like, wow, I think we need this, and just convincing the company to move forward with it. And a couple demos later, we finally onboarded last week. So
awesome. And someone commented, easy like client new user onboarding. So client, oh wait, he said client onboarding. That's even more difficult. We do start folks off with new user onboarding, even though it's like one of the most complex workflows, but that's because we're hand holding you through the process. And it's something that all MSPs understand the problem, even if they don't even understand automation. Because if we say, hey, can you think of something to automate? They say no, because they're not familiar with automation. And then we mention client and user add, then they go, oh yeah, that is pretty manual. And then they do understand automation. So we tend to start there, even though that's a hard thing, but we're hand holding you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I ran that a couple days ago, and it was my first log entry of data and time saved and all that stuff. So that was very satisfying.
Awesome. Well, good luck, Josh. We hope to see you present a simple workflow on this call to everyone. So start thinking about your simple workflow.
I'll get there. Thank you.
Philip Welch asks, if I got a workflow that requires an input, can I set up a button on an app platform page to run the workflow and pass in the required data? Who can answer that? Come on, someone can answer that.
I've got a word.
I'm going to call on people that I know can answer that.
Are you talking about loading with a form in your app, or are you just talking about having a blank field in your app that you want to?
I don't know why it looks like he just wanted a button, not a form. Philip, are you on mute? Are you not on the call?
Just a button, not a form.
We can hear you now.
Okay, so I've got an app platform page that I'm passing data to through query parameters, like the ticket ID, and I want to be able to click a button on that page that will take in the ticket ID and run the workflow that is associated to that button using the ticket ID as the required parameter for the workflow. It'd be easy enough to do with a form, but I want to do it on an app platform page.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if you could do that. I don't know how you would do that. It's easy with a form to have the button load just like a modal to pop up the form with the ticket number and the submit button, which would then work the workflow based off the trigger.
You can do that with JavaScript.
If the workflow triggers with the webhook, you could put it as a query parameter.
I could try that.
JavaScript will let you do that though, because I've made custom buttons in App Platform using JavaScript that pull dynamic stuff just like the Rewst built-in forms, and then allow me to pass inputs into other workflows to do things.
Okay, I'll have to keep searching on the Discord to find an example of that, unless you can send me one.
Go to Claude.ai and explain your problem and have it help you generate some JavaScript. Is going to be probably the fastest starting point for that, honestly.
Cool. I'll take a look. Thank you.
Thank you for asking a question, Philip.
You can use JavaScript directly on the app builder form, or do you have to put it in like an HTML container?
I've just used it directly, and I just have it reference just templates and then load the data that way. it works like a charm, and it's a lot prettier and more dynamic. I'm just not enough of an expert at JavaScript to really answer the question because I'm still learning it. But I mean, that was my starting point, is just going to Claude with it and just building things out with JavaScript that way, as opposed to just HTML.
People are suggesting HTML container. All right. Well, I think that took us almost to the end here.
There's been no other questions whatsoever. Definitely not about the canvas. So
Yeah, no questions about the new canvas. We do have a couple devs working on it, though. We'll be talking about it here soon, hopefully. Hey, Aaron, do you remember the URL to log into QA? Hey, everybody. Please ping pizza in hopes that you can get your contextual information in September as promised. Also, thank you for all the folks that demoed today. We had a ton of demos today. Just an action-packed open mic. So thank you, folks, for your questions and for your demos. We'll see you in the coop, and I'll see you again next Friday. Have a good weekend, everybody. Thank you, Ashe.
bye, everyone.
Bye.
Meow.